Medusa, Medusa, Medusa. Um, the soul relationship and dealing with the energy of blood. This is the pervasive energy of creation, right? Like beyond everything that we're talking about, what's actually allowing positive or negative vibrations is the flow of blood. Like if your blood's not flowing, then you're not going. Right? It's over for you, you know. So what is blood though? Where does blood come from, right? We are all a result of the menstruation blood of our mothers being retained and saved for us, you know? Because what generally happens is she menstruates monthly, right? But then when she is with child, she stops that process and you begin to absorb all of that power and your life is created. So all of us are here due to the root understanding of the menstruation and the goddess of that actual energy. So let's talk about her, you know, because what you'll hear is these gruesome, negative Hollywood stories about Medusa, and you'll see Perseus come down there and cut her head off, and we'll be rooting for Medusa. I mean, we'll be rooting for Perseus, right? That's real mind control, right? So hopefully you have some young ladies in your life, right, who are coming into their power, coming into their menstruation, and you're teaching them not to fear it or to hate it, right? You're teaching them that that is their power. I'm gonna digress for a second because there's a personal situation. Like this friend of the family from Ohio, she was our friend, and like nothing. She's just friendly, friendly energy, right? But I had the channel with her last night, and some things was like kind of brought to my attention. Like she would only come over during her menstruation. And I'm just like, what was that about? She was like, I was trying to tap in. I was trying to absorb, you know? This is something that I do my whole life. I play mind games with people when I'm on my period, and then, I have them calling me, have them, hitting me up and all types of stuff. So I'm like, oh, that's why I like you. You was playing period games with me. I don't even know I didn't even know you could do that. She's like, yeah, you'll figure it out. So I'm like, okay, I will. So, you know, I started doing the research on Medusa. Bring this chat up. And Medusa's origin is Libya or West Africa. Uh, it's a Berber energy, but Berber energy results into the Moors. But when you do the knowledge on the Moors, you have this American connection of kind of like Atlantis and the mound builders that people kind of really try to suppress, which is more of the mystery that needs to be uncovered that nobody wants to talk about. So you know who she is. Peace, Emma. Peace, Black Widow Divine. Prime Harmonic holding the chat down. Appreciate you. So you have this mound builder energy, this ancestral Atlantean energy, mother energy, creative energy that is suppressed through mythology. And how it's suppressed through mythology is you create this monstrous narrative on particular energy, and then you don't tell them the real story. You just keep the monsters narrative, and that tradition is passed down. But the real energy is centered in this divine goddess. So Medusa is a gorgon, and that's another nasty way of saying the triple goddess energy, because the moon is waxing, waning, right? And in the middle is actually the full moon. It's the actual energy that's made aware, right? So we have this etheric energy, but then we have this really tangible etheric energy. So what am I talking about? It's like full moon is like that beautiful being in front of you, like like ready, you know, like it's just everything that you want, and it's a spiritual experience because it feels so good, and it's taking you to a place, and this is what you really want, and your endorphins are firing off in your brain, dopamine going crazy, and you just feel euphoric, you know, just that's a full moon, right? And you can't explain that, nor can you manipulate it in real time. So since you can't manipulate it, all you have to do is suppress it, meaning don't tell you about it, right? And the Gorgon in Greek mythology is just a misnarration of truth. And if you can get people to repeat a lie over and over and over again, you know, it becomes a truth. So we have Stheno, Uriel, and Medusa. Medusa is the only mortal, meaning that she's the only one that manifests in the actual plane. So the only representation that we have of primordial energy is the energy of Medusa. So the story goes in Greek mythology is that she makes love to Poseidon and Athena gets pissed off. And after Athena gets pissed off, she transforms Medusa into a terrifying creature with snakes for hair, right? And Perseus, and so they confine Medusa into like this cave, right? So in ancient times, when women had menstruation, they would create these menstruation dens and they would isolate the women. And if you Google like bitten by a snake, there will be this 2017 story about a young lady who was sent into an isolation and she's literally bitten by a snake during her actual transit through her like den stay when she was isolated from the village. But bitten by a snake is a traditional way of saying like, you know, my friend is here, right? Um say hello to my little friend, right? And that's the same. So the snakes, if you see the snakes in ancient times, it would be very simple to say, oh, that is menstruation, right? The same way if you was to say that's my little friend. But you know, over time we forget the simple translations and the simple ideologies, and we'll be really looking at it like, oh, snakes on her head stand for the dreadlocks. You know what I'm saying? So everybody with dreadlocks is Medusa, but it's much deeper than that because Perseus, which is a made up energy, right? Because Perseus don't have a root in Egyptian mythology. He only has a root in Greek mythology, meaning that he is a personification of the government, established society, so forth and so on. And how does Perseus and Athena have this power? Well, they behead Medusa, but the decapitated head is still held within the power. So the decapitated head of Medusa represents Rahu. It represents the all-knowing energy, but it's also a Ketu, meaning the body is disconnected, and the body is all of us, right? Like in Christian lore, they talk about the body of Christ, right? And it's everybody involved in the resurrection or the unification of oppositions of knowledge and togetherness, right? When we come together and share knowledge, we are able to expand and grow as a unit. But if Perseus or the establishment beheads Medusa, then they hold the power. However, we know what's going down and we can easily tap back into our natural normal power. So our ignorance is used against us as a weapon. What do I mean by that? All whether you are if you are a man, right, you are birthed from your mother's menstruation, meaning that you are Medusa, right? Your blood represents this Medusa energy. It's just this ancient mother powerful energy that once it aligns with the full moon, like you see it all the time, Teen Wolf and that type of energy where once the full moon happens, oh, you transform, right? This is normal stuff. I'll do you one better. They call it lunacy, right? Lunacy. Lunar. Sea is crazy. When the moon is full, they expect crazy energy. But it's not necessarily crazy if you can understand it and capitalize on it, which I'm told through channel that a lot of women do. They just don't talk about it. However, fellas, be aware, it's a lot of unhappy relationships due to this actual practice, unfortunately. So where you probably think is not affecting you, I wager to say it is, and our ignorance of this particular situation is the fact that we don't know the power of, Medusa's head. So the source of this information, before I go any further, the link is in the description, is Judica Illis, the Encyclopedia of Fairies, Spirits, Gods, and Goddesses. It's in the description. You could buy this book, and reference my source. And I did some additional work, but mainly this was my source. This book got like a lot of energies that you can get the source of it for. Like instead of just, the mythology, it really sees past the mythology and gets more of the mystery. I love this book, and I invite everybody to get this book. So the Libyan snake goddess, because we understand that everything Greco-Roman is actually interpolated from indigenous African energy. There isn't a creation of the 12 gods of Olympus. Those are reinterpreted or sampled from the 12 netters of Egypt, right? So the fact that Athena is beheading Medusa, and even in some mythologies it says that she flayed Medusa and wore her skin and her head, meaning that she wanted to be her mother, right? And she wanted to destroy her mother's history. Of course, right? That makes sense, right? So it would be another story, because when you reference like countries, every country has a goddess. So Greece was Athena, right? Rome, I'm not sure, right? They did that Romulus and Remus thing. I'm sure there's a goddess for Rome, probably Roma, right? I know America, they have Columbia, right? That's the goddess of America, Columbia, right? Shout out to ColumbianExchange.com. Tap into the goddess energy. It's available. You just don't tap into it. But all of these countries have goddesses. And so Medusa was just the Libyan or the West African. When you reference through the knowledge on West Africa and Spain, that's just remnants of Atlantis, right? And Rome trying to destroy that part of its past. Because the more that you destroy the history of energy, the better off the people who don't have access to the energy are, right? Because this is very simple. It's very simple to tap in to something internal, such as a simple menstruation that you can't even control, really. It just happens. And if it happens and you're like, fuck, shit, fuck, if you're like, damn, my little friend is here. If you have that energy towards it, then that's the same energy towards your power, towards your gun, towards your whole entire ancestral energy. If you hate that, learn to tap into your natural power, and it's not something contrived. That's why I feel like this is a powerful conversation, because it affects us all in the most basic of ways. So if you're thinking like this is spiritual and you gotta do a ritual and what book to read, hood? what book to read? Right? Hey hood, What book to read? You talking about this Medusa? It's natural, right? It's natural. So Athena desires Medusa's power. This is why it has to be suppressed. And that's why we live on this world with no magic. It's like the second season of the Magicians, or the third season. Y'all know that one season when it started and it just was no magic no more, because the energy of the magicians was suppressed, you know? So at the core of this whole story is jealousy. Jealousy of what you do and what comes naturally. And the only thing that needs to be directed is your energy towards yourself. That's straight from Corinne Gaines. That's straight from the Divine Feminine. That's straight from the horse's mouth. All you have to do is direct your energy inward positively. There is nothing that goes on internally that is wrong, that is bad, that is dreaded, that is hated. Everything that you experience internally is built on the love of the goddess. And you can learn to love and ritualize everything about you. Okay? And once you begin to love and learn everything about you, such comes with it power and dominion over the planet. And men, we have menstruation periods too, especially if you're faithful. Only faithful, God fearing, goddess fearing men are allowed the privilege of this particular energy. And it's not in the realm of blood, it's in the realm of frustration, right? Because, like a dog, we have instincts, right? And when you don't obey your instincts, that creates a negative emotional field. So it's always wise for a woman to understand their man and understand their sadness. It's not because we're not wired the same. A woman is easily wired to like one man, even if she dates, like, she can date many men. But ultimately, when she refers to a relationship, she likes to refer to, like, well, this is my man. I've rarely heard women say, well, this is all of my dudes back here. That's Tim, that's John, that's Jason, that's Terrell. Come say hi to Hood Mystic, y'all. Yeah, these is all my dudes. I ain't never seen that before in my life. I'm sure it happens. I just never seen it, right? So, however, I've had seen men like, yeah, this Lisa, this Tammy. Come say hi to Hood Mystic, y'all. Yeah, these my women right here. You gotta understand that. I've seen that before. Haven't seen it on the other side. And I say all of this to say that when we actually learn how this actually works, we can create a peaceful, pleasant environment for all of us. And this is much more of understanding the energy of the matriarchy, and the matriarchy creating a vibration for all of the women. So an interesting thing about women, when you have one girl and you treat her really, really good, it affects other women. It starts to rub off over, like, every woman can feel how you treat your wife, because women are connected. And this is the matriarchy. This is what needs to be established. And a part of the matriarchy, whether you dislike it or not, is just not enough men to go around, right? So within a matriarchy, there are multiple women that share a man. And a lot of people don't like that, but whether you like it or not, it's happening anyways, right? It's always happened in my life. Like, I will always see men deal with multiple women, and I'm just like, what is that about? Uh basically because the way society is made and created, there's just more women than men. And even though it might even out statistically, y'all all know what I'm talking about when I say men. Because a lot of men are not developed into manhood. It's a lot of men that have the mindset of boys. So they can't even digest the conversation that I have or perpetuate it in real time. So since we've established that that Medusa is the energy of menstruation. What is menstruation? So you know me, deal with the deal with the etymology, and lo and behold, the energy of menses represents month, and month represents moon. So all of this lunar eclipse energy, this K2 Rahu, this solar eclipse, lunar eclipse is all tied into Medusa, because the moon is the actual symbol for menstruation, right? In this process. And then how it connects to the triple goddess, the waning, waxing, and full moon. And the full moon is the release of the menstruation, which is a release of powerful energy that you could use to manifest. So say, for instance, you are a particular feminine energy and you're struggling with some things. You have a monthly cycle that provides you with more than enough opportunity to create. It's just, are you doing it? Are you doing the work? Or are you not doing the work? Because if you are doing the work, I'm sure you're living with the results. And I'm sure some women can get on this chat and say, yes, it works, girl. It works, right? It works, right? It comes from me. So what is menstruation? Menstruation is just month blood or moon blood, right? Just moon blood, right? That's what it means. Menstruation is moon blood, right? So it just have you think about it in a real simple, understandable way, right? So Medusa is the goddess of menstrual power or divine feminine energy. And the reason why it might not connect dots with nobody is because you simply lack the knowledge of the human body. You looking too much external for an explanation or a reason, or trying to tap into something external, right? So let's get into it. Moon blood is the most powerful substance in the world when it comes to magical processes. It can pop off any and everything that you want to pop off. It can have you have a man in your life that ain't supposed to be there. It can use to be destroy or overwhelm any other power. So as we go into this lunar eclipse, we should be able to tap into a level of dominion and control. So it's real easy. Say, for instance, you understand that all women energy is connected. You either agree with me or disagree with me. But say, for instance, you agree with me, then any curse or hex that you do to any woman is coming back to you, right? Because all women are connected. But you want to tap into power, grace, beauty, love, finances, and things of that nature. How do you do that? You start to wish it for everybody else, all women around you. You start to love on the women on the planet, right? Especially women who need it, right? Who are close to you, right? You start to, when I say love, you got to understand the 4 different varieties of love. There's family love, there's personal love, there's friend love, there's relationship love. It ain't sexual is not the love that I'm talking about at this particular point. It's just an overall expectation that they're going to have the best experience ever, right? And you start to wish that for everybody, and you see how it plays out, and it comes back to you. Trust me, right? Right. So, like I said earlier, the snakes are a common association with menstruation or moon blood. So, it's really when you see these snakes, they're really giving you a clear message. You looking for something outside of you, outside of yourself, for power and for energy. And the fact is, I'm happening every 28 days on schedule, right? Bitten by the snake. Go ahead and Google bitten by the snake, and you'll see the story that I'm referencing. Okay. So if you are a divine feminine and you feel vulnerable, right? Corinne Gaines, she felt vulnerable. She was seeking knowledge. She was going to the Moors. She was going to the Nuwapians. She was going to church. She was only 23. 23 to be exact. Let's keep that in frame, right? But she had been to so many schools of knowledge seeking the word that she needed. She never realized that it was within her the whole time, her ability to birth beautiful children, right? Was all the magic that she needed. And even if she never birthed children, the fact that this menstruation is occurring is an ability to create a world. It's an ability to establish a matriarchy. So if you are seeking a life outside of communing and building without women, you are going in the wrong direction. Seek to establish a strong relationship with the women in your life. Period. Figure it out. Because whether you know it or not, whether they know it or not, they hold the power. Because the power of menstruation allows all life to commence. And this is the power of Medusa. This is the power of Corinne Gaines. This is the power of the divine feminine. And that's just my little quick presentation on the energy. I'm not the go-between to this. Don't ask me for no books. Don't ask me how I channeled. Because you can do the same thing. You just have to actually focus on something that resonates with you and establish a relationship through commitment, focus, and honesty, family. So that's the presentation. I'm going to cut on some instrumentals so we can catch a vibe. And I just want to tap in, see how everybody is feeling. Peace. I'll be right back.